Roughly 60 minutes into the chaos, grappling with a toppled pile of shoeboxes, I uncovered it. A worn leather notebook, soft and aged, like something you'd grab at a trendy Portland shop to impress a barista who recites poetry. No label, no lock, no name scribbled inside. I assumed it was Sarah's. It matched her style. Chic, creative, likely filled with sketches or quotes from books I'd pretend to know while nodding. I flipped it open. No drawings. It was precise, almost surgical. On the first page, a neat table was drawn in sharp, almost sterile handwriting. Name, occupation, time spent, in bed, rating, mood, worth a repeat. I blinked twice. My mind raced. Maybe this was a joke, a cast list for some whimsical script she ditched. But then I spotted the names, real, recognizable ones. I turned the pages, each one detailing a different man. A new analysis. There were scores from 1 to 10, some marked with stars or enthusiastic jots, others with little hearts, and a few brutally honest. Boring talks too much. One entry read, "Stunning, terrible kisser. Still worth it." Another, "Hooked up in his boss's office. He cried afterward. No thanks." My throat tightened. I jumped to the last page. There I was. David, accountant, 7 years together, 6/10 in bed. Mood. Reliable but predictable, like a grilled cheese on a Wednesday. Worth a repeat. Been there, done that. Not sure why I'm still around. I sank onto the cold hardwood floor, staring at those words like they were a riddle I couldn't crack. Reliable, predictable, grilled cheese. No rage, no tears. Just a heavy weight in my chest, like finding out your favorite song was written for someone else. The kicker? She didn't even try to conceal it. No lock, no hidden nook. Just lying there, waiting to be discovered. Time slipped away, the room spinning as minutes blurred together. I must have reread my page a dozen times, hoping the words would shift. That grilled cheese was some witty praise I was too slow to get. But no, it was exactly what it looked like, a performance review, and I was the guy who just scraped by. Eventually, I paged through the notebook carefully, treating it like evidence because it sure felt like a crime. The names kept coming. Ryan, the neighbor. Lucas, the freelance videographer. Ethan, the DJ from that reception. My stomach twisted with every line. I knew these guys. Some had been in our house, smiling at me, drinking my whiskey. One even borrowed my drill. Dates were noted beside the entries. Some from before we got married, but plenty after. Like that week I was at a seminar in Chicago. She wrote, "Mason personal trainer, built like a linebacker, faked a back spasm to bail." I remember calling her that night. She said she was bored, missed me. I heard her pour wine and sigh. "Slow day," she'd said. Lies, smooth, practiced lies. I kept flipping. My hands were freezing, my chest tight. One entry stopped me cold. Chris, our therapist, knew it was risky, but the rush was worth it. Rush? I slammed the notebook shut and sat there. The weight of it heavy in my lap, hands limp, like I was holding a truth I wasn't ready to face. My wife, the woman who curled up with me at night, who texted heart emojis when I worked late, was out here rating men like they were boutique coffees. I should have been furious, should have hurled the thing across the room, let out a raw yell. But instead, I stood, walked to the scanner, and made copies. Then I slipped the original back where it was. Why? Some small voice inside said, "Wait." Sleep didn't come that night. Sarah swept in around 9, smelling of Pinot Grigio and expensive perfume. She kicked off her sandals by the door and flashed that polished, effortless smile, the one that always felt so warm. "Hey, babe," she said, sauntering over to kiss my cheek. "What did you do today?" I forced a smile. "Tackled the closet," I said, like I hadn't just stumbled over a landmine in our marriage. She laughed and leaned against the counter. "Finally, that thing was driving me nuts." I nodded, opened the fridge, poked around for nothing, just to keep my face out of sight. She didn't blink, didn't care. "Find my sketchbooks?" she asked, pouring a glass of Chardonnay. "Just boxes, shoes, old cords," I said, voice steady. Not a flicker of guilt crossed her face, no hesitation, no tell. She launched into a story about a colleague, Tyler, who overshared at their staff meeting, like, "Okay, Tyler, we get it, your breakup's messy, but don't cry over the slideshow." I nodded on cue, smiled when expected, but I was elsewhere, replaying pages, names, scores, 6 out of 10, reliable but predictable. That line lodged in me like a thorn. The next day, I started my own record, digital, of course. I'm not that theatrical. Entry 1, timeline cross-check. I dove into my work calendar, lined up her journal dates with my trips, meetings, late nights. It matched too well. October 22nd, I was in Boston for a finance course. She met up with Jake, old college crush. Finally closed the loop. Electric spark. November 10th, I was laid up with the flu. She wrote, "Low-key day with Noah, neighbor. Surprisingly intense, might circle back." I paused. "Noah, the guy who always offered to shovel our driveway, who brought over pumpkin bread last fall." My stomach nodded. I pulled up our holiday party photos on my phone. There he was, grinning in the background, Sarah beside me, holding my hand. All a performance. How deep did this run? I started searching names. Instagram, LinkedIn, Bumble. Entry 2, profile matches. Some were still active. I found one guy, Tyler, on a dating app, same photo Sarah once said screamed guy who thinks gym selfies are a personality. Guess she reconsidered. He scored an 8.5 in her book, great biceps, boring talker. Would repeat. Repeat. Like he was a spin class. I snapped my laptop shut. That night, I couldn't stop watching her. She was in the kitchen, mixing a salad, humming softly, hair in a loose bun, oversized tea, half-empty wine glass, again. She looked so ordinary, so herself. She caught my gaze and smiled. "What's up?" "Just thinking," I said, "about us." She strolled over, leaned on the table, studied me. "Good thoughts or bad?" she teased, playful. I scanned her face, the tiny mole near her eye, the shape of her smile, the slight tilt of her head when she wanted to charm me, all the things I used to adore. Now they felt rehearsed. "How about we mix things up this weekend?" I fibbed. Her eyes brightened. "Love that. Maybe a vineyard tour or a cute cabin upstate. I saw this perfect spot online." I nodded. "Sounds great." She kissed me gentle, brief, then returned to her salad, her wine, like I wasn't burning inside. Later, I opened her journal again, page after page of betrayal framed as a diary. I skimmed the margins, the doodles, the underlines. One note stood out: list rules, honesty first, feelings second. Men pass through, but great moments linger. That was her code. No shouting, no tears. I was going to document, because if Sarah loved lists, she'd be thrilled with the one I was compiling. By the weekend, I'd read her journal twice, cover to cover. I memorized the worst parts, let them settle in me like stone. I cataloged her preferences, her notes, her favorites. I even built a spreadsheet, classic accountant move. Just facts, raw, clear, ruthless. And she kept acting like everything was fine. Saturday morning, she wandered into the living room in my old Bear's tee, the one she always stole after laundry. Her hair was messy from sleep, and she rubbed her eyes like a kid. "Morning, love," she yawned. "Coffee?" "Sure," I said. "Thanks." She shuffled to the kitchen. I heard the kettle's hum, the clink of a mug, the stir of a spoon, a soundtrack of everyday life. I watched her move, her easy grace, the way she swayed to some silent melody like the world was soft and warm. Sarah handed me my coffee, brushed a kiss across my forehead, and settled across from me with her own steaming mug. "We need to shake things up," she declared suddenly. "Life's feeling a bit routine lately." I nearly choked on my coffee. "Routine?" I echoed, stifling a bitter chuckle. "Yeah," she grinned. "You know, comfy, dependable. But maybe we could use some excitement. How about Paris this spring?" She was completely serious. This woman who labeled me a grilled cheese was pitching a Paris getaway with me. Like I was her loyal wingman, not the man she scored in a hidden notebook. I blinked, took a sip, and swallowed a surge of anger. "Sounds incredible," I replied. "What part of Paris?" She dove into a vivid rundown of quaint bistros and museums, her tone light and dreamy, a woman in love, and it made my stomach churn. That evening, she dressed up just because. She slipped into a fitted navy dress, back daringly low, one she hadn't worn since our 3rd anniversary. I still pictured that night. I booked a rooftop dinner, brought roses, gave her the silver bracelet she claimed she adored. That same week, she met up with a barista from her yoga class, Caleb, tattooed, hands like magic. Needed a protein shake to bounce back. I still had the receipt for that bracelet. "Don't I look stunning tonight?" she asked, spinning in front of the mirror. I looked up from my laptop. "Always," I said, voice even. She beamed, sauntered over, and slid onto my lap, arms draping around my neck, lipstick brushing my jaw. "You've been so wonderful lately," she purred. "I'm really into this vibe of yours." "This vibe? The one that sees through your act? The one staying calm while planning to upend your world?" In bed, she nestled against me. "You're so warm," she murmured. I traced her spine. My voice slipped out sharper than intended. "Warm, or just what you're used to?" She propped herself up. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing." I kissed her temple. "Go to sleep." She eyed me a moment longer, then sank back down. The next few days were a masterclass in pretense. She made dinner, laughed at my lame jokes, even floated the idea of trying couples yoga again. Yoga? The irony nearly broke me. I went along with it all, smiled, nodded, played my role. But I wasn't in our marriage anymore. I was deconstructing it, studying her, every phrase, every glance, every hint. It was all a performance. And I was done being the fool. So I got to work. I rescanned her notebook, organized my finances, quietly called a lawyer, no theatrics, because when the moment came, I wanted precision, not pandemonium. I wanted the sound of her world unraveling. It was a Tuesday. Sarah had just finished a Zoom meeting and drifted into the kitchen, barefoot, humming softly. I watched her from the dining table. She looked radiant, at ease, like a woman basking in her perfect little life. She opened the fridge. "Steak tonight," she called. "Or the cheesy pasta you're obsessed with?" I stood. "No dinner." She turned, confused. "What? Why?" "Let's eat out." Her eyes lit up, lips curving. "Ooh, fancy. What's the mood?" "No mood," I lied. "Just want to treat my wife." She softened. "God, you're killing it with this romantic streak." "I'm hooked." "Sure you are." I reserved a table at her favorite lakeside restaurant, dim lights, crisp linens, the works. She wore a striking red dress that drew eyes. I wore a suit, tie, even brought tulips. It looked like a date night, just not the one she expected. We sat, ordered wine. She talked, I nodded. Her words flowed, friends, rumors, the intern who types like she's punching the keyboard. Then I reached into my coat. "I know you're into lists," I said, setting a sleek black folder on the table. "So I made you one." Her smile faltered. She glanced at the folder, then at me. "What's this?" she asked, voice airy but unsteady, like she felt the ground shift. I nudged it closer. "Take a look." She hesitated, then opened it. Inside, a flawless copy of her notebook, every name, every rating, every detail neatly organized. Her face drained of color. "This is yours," I said. "Well, a copy. Original safe, no worries." She stared at the pages, lips quivering. Then she snapped it shut. "How could you snoop through my personal things?" I tilted my head. You mean the unmarked notebook you left in our shared closet? She went quiet. I leaned in, voice low, cold, measured. I read it all, Sarah, every entry, every scribble, every heart. Loved the part where you called me a grilled cheese. She swallowed, eyes darting. David, you crossed every boundary when you slept with the therapist we hired to fix us. Her mouth open, no sound. While I was bearing my soul in sessions. Trying to save us, you were what? Scoring his performance for your little log. Please, she whispered, panic creeping in. Not here. Yes, here, I said, voice firm. Right here, in your favorite place, with your favorite wine, because I want you to remember this. She reached out, maybe for the folder, maybe for me. I pulled back. You didn't just betray me, Sarah. You documented it like I was a footnote in your scrapbook, a backup plan, a placeholder. Her eyes shimmered. She glanced around, the candles, the other diners, the hum of ordinary life. David, I messed up. No, you decided. I stood, smoothed my coat, left cash on the table. You're not the only one who can keep records. She clutched the folder, frantic. Don't show this to anyone. I leaned down, voice a murmur. Why not? It's your work of art, right? Honest, raw, your personal epic. She flinched. I turned and walked out, no yelling, no drama, just steady steps and the weight of a woman realizing her notebook was now evidence. I didn't go home. I wandered the lakeshore until my feet ached, the night air slicing through my jacket like it knew I'd broken apart. Eventually, I checked into a nondescript hotel, plain walls, free bagels, no charm. I loosened my tie, sat on the bed, stared at the void. My phone buzzed. Sarah, come home. We can work through this. I didn't mean to hurt you. It was a phase. You invaded my privacy, David. That notebook was mine. I screwed up, but you're making it bigger than it is. Classic, regret to deflection, apology to blame. I didn't respond. The next day, I called a lawyer. It was calm, businesslike. He asked about infidelity. I laughed. Oh, plenty, I said, with a scorecard to prove it. He paused. A scorecard. Long story, I said. 2 days later, I went home while she was at work. I grabbed essentials, left her gifts, cufflinks, mementos, that anniversary bracelet in a neat pile on the counter. Next to it, an envelope. Inside, one line, it wasn't the affairs that destroyed us. It was you thinking I'd never notice, never care, never matter. I signed my full name like I was resigning from a role, which I was. Over the next weeks, she tried everything. Texts, emails, voicemails swinging from tears to accusations. You walked away because you're weak. You never listened. You were too boring. I felt trapped. Then, you were my anchor. You didn't deserve this. I get it now. Please, I ruined everything. Her last letter arrived 6 months later, handwritten, scented with her perfume. You were the kindest man I knew, my safe haven, and I destroyed it. I chased excitement, but found only emptiness. If I could, I'd choose you every time. I read it once, tucked it in a drawer I never open. I'm dating now Lauren. She laughs with her whole heart. She doesn't keep logs of hookups or rate guys like restaurants. When she holds me, she's there, not comparing me to past flings. And you know what? I'm no one's grilled cheese anymore. I'm me fully, with someone who doesn't keep score. As for Sarah, her lists didn't save her. Word got out not from me, but because secrets rot. A coworker found her notebook in her car once and never looked at her the same. Noah, the neighbor, stopped waving. She stayed in our house, alone, quiet, the same rooms, same counters, but the spark was gone. Her perfect life, candles, brunches, curated posts, started to feel hollow even to her. She tried dating new guys, new tries, but they didn't last because even the boldest flavor fades when you're always chasing the last one. The notebook? Rumor is she burned it. Or maybe that's the tale she spins, like it's some poetic cleanse, fire and renewal. But that only works if you stop writing new pages.